The Scramble for Africa. How Europe's bloody borders still haunt the continent. In 1884, a group of European men sat in a Berlin palace, sipping champagne, and carved up a continent they'd never seen. They drew lines on maps, lines that ignored cultures, languages, and ancient kingdoms. Those lines became borders, borders drawn in blood. This is the story of how Europe's scramble for Africa ignited a century of violence, and why those same borders still fuel wars, poverty, and injustice today. Subscribe to uncover history's darkest secrets. Part 1. Africa before colonialism. Before the Europeans arrived, Africa was no dark continent. It was a tapestry of thriving empires, nomadic cultures, and bustling trade networks. The Mali Empire's gold-funded Renaissance Europe. Swahili city-states traded with China, but when Europe industrialized, they didn't want partners, they wanted prey. Imagine if aliens landed tomorrow and said, "We're splitting Earth into zones. Canada, you're now part of Russia. Mexico, divided between China and Brazil." That's what Europe did to Africa. And they did it with zero input from Africans. The Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference wasn't diplomacy. It was a robbery. King Leopold II of Belgium, a man who'd never set foot in Africa, walked away with the Congo. His rule would kill 10 million people. Meanwhile, France and Britain played chess with human lives, slicing through ethnic groups like the Somali and Yoruba. Leopold called it a humanitarian mission. Spoiler, there was nothing humanitarian about chains, severed hands, and villages burned for rubber quotas. The blood and resistance. Europe's conquest was brutal. In Namibia, Germans slaughtered 80% of the Herero people. In Tanganyika, the Maji-Maji rebellion saw 300,000 killed. But Africa fought back. Ethiopia's Emperor Menelik II crushed the Italians at Adwa. Proof that colonialism wasn't inevitable. These weren't primitive uprisings. They were wars of survival. And they're why, today, Ethiopia's calendar is 7 years behind, because they never fully surrendered. The legacy. When African nations won independence, they inherited borders designed to fail. Rwanda's genocide, fueled by Belgian racial hierarchies. Congo's endless war, a fight for cobalt that powers your smartphone. Europe didn't just steal land, they stole futures. Today, French companies control West Africa's currency. Chinese mines exploit workers. And your diamond ring, it's drenched in colonial blood, reckoning and hope. But Africa is rewriting its story. Students are tearing down colonial statues. Women are leading land rights movements. And tech-savvy Gen Zers are using TikTok to reclaim their history. Reparations aren't about the past, they're about fixing a broken system. When Germany apologized for the Herero genocide, it was a start. But what about returning stolen art, canceling debts, dismantling borders? The scramble for Africa never really ended. It just put on a suit. But every time a kid learns their pre-colonial history, or a community sues a mining giant, that system cracks. So, what can you do? Share this video. Question where your products come from. And remember, history isn't over, it's being written right now. Like, comment, and subscribe to join the fight for justice. Subscribe button plus recommended videos.